Hello and welcome to After Sound Review, where this time I'm very excited to review this latest creation from Fiio, and this is the Fiio FD5. So first of all, thank you for my friend Zubaids who have sent me his collection, this Fiio FD5 for me to review. And yeah, this Fiio FD5 is using a single dynamic driver. Okay, let's get started from the build, fit, frequency response, sound, and comparison. Straight from the build itself, it feels really beautiful in my hand, and you can see that it is made of whole metal, and yeah, it is made of stainless steel. And from the faceplate itself, it's really beautiful. You can see that there's a grill, there's a vent hole on the faceplate here, and then there's a different type of finishing around here happening. This kind of grill is definitely metallic, while the other part is kind of matte. So yeah, it is really beautiful. And then the really unique part is this nozzle. The nozzle is actually interchangeable, and this is not your usual interchangeable nozzle. Usually when you change the nozzle, you get different filter or different dampening system that will change the sound, but not in this Fiio. Actually, this Fiio has two different size of nozzle, and it's very easy to change them. Just unscrew them and screw them, and it's really easy to do that because of it's easier to see that there's a grill around here, you see. So it's really easy to take it off and take it off and put it on. It's very exciting experience, and yes, the sound is definitely changed between the small nozzle and the big nozzle. And then they are using MMCX connector, and the cable itself feels really high quality. It is using 4 braid connector and 4 braid core cables, and then 8 core cables on the lower end. And another fun thing about this Fiio FD5 is how the jack is also interchangeable, and it's really easy. You can just unscrew them just like the nozzle, and then you just pull it a bit, yeah, just like that. And you can see that the connector is actually 4 pole hole around this area, and then you just screw or unscrew it, and it's really easy to change it with the included 2.5 balance jack and also the 4.4 balance jack. You can just find the railing here and then put the 4 connector around and then just screw them. Okay, that's all for the build quality. It's very good and very refreshing. This is the first time I see this kind of interchangeable nozzle and also interchangeable jack, and very easy to change. Okay, and then the fitting itself is definitely different when you use the small nozzle or the big nozzle. For my small Asian ears, it is simply much easier to use, much more stable if using this small nozzle. But yeah, it depends on your ears. And then when it comes to the sound, I will use my iFi XDSD, Qlix 5K, X Duo, Accent, and also iBasso DX160 for my source. And here are the songs that I used. Okay, when it comes to the frequency response, I believe that this Fiio FD5 could be categorized as V-shape. And I'd like to show this, that there's definitely a change when you change the nozzle. This is the big nozzle, and this is the small nozzle one. So yes, this is exactly what I perceived, that the small nozzle actually a little bit lessen the upper mid-range and also treble, therefore it making it less V-shape and less sharp. But it definitely not as 3D, as expanded as the bigger nozzle, and also because of the physics itself of the physical shape of the smaller nozzle, it could get deeper into my ears. The bass, although it is shown like the same here, but from what I perceive, that this smaller nozzle could give more tighter and deeper bass. It is simply thanks to the physical shape of the smaller nozzle, it could get deeper into my ears. But yeah, it could definitely quite different from people to people thanks to the shape of the ears. And this is the comparison with the Moondrop KXSS, which a lot consider to be as Harman IM. The Moondrop KXSS has less bass emphasis and also quite similar upper mid pinna gain raise around here, but the lower treble part is more subdued. It is more rolled off in the Moondrop KXSS. Therefore, it definitely gives more smoother feeling, not as energetic as the Fiio FD5. And this is what I'm using for the DF neutral, for the diffuse field. This is what I consider to be quite neutral. This is from Swanergy X01, and this Swanergy is definitely much more leaner in the bass area. Also, there's a quiet balanced pinna gain around here, and then it is more rolled off in the treble area. So yeah, there's some emphasis around the Fiio FD5 around the lower treble area and also upper mid-range area, that giving it sounds quite V-shaped-ish, although it's not a huge valley V-shaped here. It's definitely, I definitely quite like the smaller nozzle one, but again, it's definitely depends on the shape of your ears and also your sound preference. So yeah, when it comes to the sound itself of this FD5, you have seen through the frequency response that I've shown you before that it is simply a V-shaped IM. But it's definitely different when you change the nozzle. The bigger nozzle sounds more V-shaped with more energy on the upper mid and treble area, while the smaller nozzle give more controlled and subdued upper mid and treble energy. Actually, I myself prefer the smaller nozzle much better than the bigger nozzle here. So when it comes to the bass itself, it is what you would expect from a high quality dynamic driver. You will get that sub bass punch or sub bass rumble with any kind of song you throw at it, and especially you will hear that through the EDM songs like Kaigo or Marshmallow, or yeah, maybe music like Imagine Dragon, Believer. You will hear that really punchy sub bass there. And when it comes to the mid-range itself, for me it's a really different. When you use the bigger nozzle, I hear some shoutiness and sibilance through some tracks. Like for example, Galway Girl from Ed Sheeran, you will hear a lot of sibilance just from the beginning. From you hear the na 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 na, you will hear a lot of sibilance right from the beginning. But when you change the nozzle from the bigger one to the smaller one, that problem is definitely reduced by a lot. You will still hear just a little bit of sibilance there, but it's definitely different. So like I said, when I use the smaller nozzle, it is simply sounds more controlled, especially when it comes to sibilance area, and when it comes to vocal, it's also more balanced. It sounds not as thin as the bigger nozzle. When I play Il Divo or I've tried some Josh Groban songs or Michael Bolton, you will hear that male depth vocal there much better in the smaller nozzle here. And then also the vocal from female like Olivia Ong, you will hear more sweetness there, less sibilance and more controlled, like song from Diana Krall, also the Cindian and Joyce Chu. It is much more sweeter in the smaller nozzle here. So yeah, for me it is no question, I like the small nozzle better. And also when it comes to the treble area, again, the bigger nozzle is simply too much for my ears. You will hear that treble sizzle there, a lot of spiciness going on around the treble area, while with the smaller nozzle, you will still get that treble energy, you will still get that lower treble energy for cymbal crash or hi-hats, but again, it sounds much more controlled, much more smoother in the smaller nozzle here. And I need to say something about this. For you who have ever heard the difference between the closed back headphone and also open back headphone, you will hear there are definitely some different in acoustic resonances. When you hear some violin, you will hear some cymbal crash, you hear that different kind of resonance going on. When in open back, it sounds more airy, it sounds more free there, and that's kind of thing that I hear from this FD5. It's just the sensation is similar to that of the open back headphones. Thanks to the fan area around here, it's not just decoration or something. It definitely works. There are you can hear some sounds leaking from it, giving airy sensation. Especially it definitely works when you hear a lot of live performances. You will hear difference in the treble area, and also the soundstage itself is really grandiose, it's really wide, it's really big. So yeah, when it comes to technicality alone, for me, this IM is also good considering it is only using a single dynamic driver. The soundstage is really 3D, it has a lot of depth and width. Also with that airiness added to it, you can, the live performance like from Hotel California, it's simply breathtaking. When you hear some movie soundtracks to it, it's just simply a breathtaking performance. But when it comes to separation alone, for me actually I have heard some multi-driver IM at this price point, like the Blessing 2 or the much cheaper the Fiio Audio Legacy 4, and the multi-driver IM definitely could offer better separation. But for the soundstage alone and also the imaging alone, for me this is definitely a top-notch IM in that area. Being a single dynamic driver, it's also really good. So how is it compared to actually my favorite single dynamic of all time? It is the Tanchjim Oxygen. Even though it's not really expensive, but for my ears, they definitely suit me the best. When it comes to tonality alone, the Tanchjim Oxygen follows the Harman curve, and it definitely sounds much more smoother, it sounds more relaxed. It's like different thing going on here when you compare them with using the same songs. When you hear the Tanchjim Oxygen, it's more like a tea party with noble people there, having more subdued, more relaxing party there. While you hear the FD5, it's much more like a what should I say? It's like a party in the EDM club or something like that. It's much more wild and energetic, but they both sound really dynamic. And this one is it's on the smoother side, while this one is more on the energetic side. And for me, I love them both. It just depends on what you hear in the end. But when it comes to technicalities alone, the FD5 definitely could give better soundstage, better imaging, and better 3D, while the Oxygen here, you will hear better black background here, and also cleaner vocal, especially when it comes to female vocal, is just cleaner here and more vibrant for my ears. I'm sorry, not vibrant, simply better and more balanced in Oxygen. But when you hear some very lively music, like for example EDM songs or maybe orchestra from movie soundtracks, it is much more energetic, much more lively in the FD5. In the end, for me, FD5 is really an exceptional IM. It is really good, it is really refreshing, seeing some unique things going on here, like the vent itself on the faceplate, also interchangeable nozzle, interchangeable jack. There's a lot of things going on here which is make me exciting of what should we see in the future of the IMs. This alone is already give a lot to show. Okay, that's all from me. If you have any question, please write down in the comments, and sorry for my bad English. See you next time. Bye bye.